Focus, ideate, innovate, enable. Salesforce and CNBC TV18 present Small Business is Big Business, unlocking the SMB opportunity.
Small businesses are the future of a country, said India Inc.'s icon Nandan Nilekani. Now, they are the strong pillars on which India's GDP is standing tall today, and coupled with the support of technology, they make the bedrock of the country's economy. Now, Gemini Power Hydraulics is one such business that is bringing innovation to manufacturing through its technologically advanced products and services. And to discuss the potential of digitization to reshape and redefine growth for MSMEs, the challenges faced by Gemini Power Hydraulics in its digital transformation journey, and how transformation in digital tech drives resilience in a business, today we're joined by two eminent industry stalwarts, Kamal Kant, the head of SMB and commercial business at Salesforce India, and Rajiv Sethi, the founder and CEO of Gemini Power Hydraulic. On Salesforce and CNBC TV18 present Small Business is Big Business, Unlocking the SMB Opportunity. Kamal and Rajiv, over to you.
So Rajiv, really would like to welcome you, and probably, you could introduce Gemini to all of us and the fantastic work that you do.
Thanks, Kamal. Thanks, Ritu. Gemini is a 30-year-old startup. Startup is the word, is the buzzword nowadays. Yes, we are in the business of supplying industrial products and services to the core industries in India, and we've been doing this, as I said before, for the last 30 years.
Now, I'd really like to hear from you, for someone who's heavily invested in digital and digitization and transformation at Gemini. What was your journey?
We are in the business of serving our customer. And previously it was, okay, hello, can I come and call you? Can I come and see you? I'll have a cup of tea with you, etc. Here's my brochure, here's my product, here's my service. Things have changed now, and things have been changing for many years. But the COVID situation, the pandemic, changed it drastically for everybody. And suddenly you had a marketplace, but you still couldn't meet people. So everything in digitization probably expanded at rocket speed, and it's probably 5x, 10x of whatever scale or growth it wanted. So that's where the phygital difference really comes in over here. And what we are doing in our company, and I'm sure many other SMBs are also doing that, you cannot or should not discard your physical sense. You still need that handshake, that warmth, that occasional cup of tea or coffee with your customer, going and demonstrating your product. At the same time, you need to have a very robust digitization program, if I can call that.
What were the challenges in this journey of yours that you really saw and you kind of faced them?
So one of the challenges is the product that we are going to adopt for digitization. Is it the right price? No, and so many other factors that come along with that. One of the first things that SME needs to do is to absorb what you guys call as the SaaS kind of platform, software as a service. So what happens within that is that everything that anybody in the company does, he or she inputs his or her work into that software platform, and then whoever is their supervisor, manager, etc., and their business head and their owner is able to see all the information in one place. I think that's the most simplest explanation of what digitization can do for your company. Once you choose to do this, then you have to choose the platforms that you need to do, etc. And we chose to go with y'all, Salesforce. Thank you for building such a great product. And this is not sponsored. We are really enjoying every day that we do. In fact, it's our single source of truth. The next thing would be in India, especially, I must say this, as compared to the Western world, we are in the business of improvising. When we are in a physical meeting or some other work we are doing, we improvise. In the SME, everybody needs to sit down and say, okay, boss, there's no improvisation over here. This is the process. Who's going to buy, who's going to cut, who's going to do this, etc., etc. And in digitization, you need to know that. So what we did, and I think I must encourage everybody else to do, is to have a very robust adoption and training team for that. Anything that you do in digitization will or can become very fragile if you do not put all these things together.
I'm sure a lot of viewers who watching us talk have really picked up quite some insights into what they need to do, and I'm sure you're on LinkedIn and they can give you a ping and reach out for experience in terms of what are something that they could do. Thanks very much, Rajiv. And I think at this point in time, I'll probably pass it on to Ritu for the next part of the session.
Well, Rajiv and Kamal, thank you very much. Rajiv, thank you for joining us, of course. And Kamal, do stay on. That was an insightful chat.
Salesforce and CNBC TV18 present Small Business is Big Business, unlocking the SMB opportunity. Salesforce and CNBC TV18 present Small Business is Big Business, unlocking the SMB opportunity.
Now, in India, small and medium businesses form the backbone of the economy. Small and medium businesses contribute a large share of the country's GDP, which is why it is imperative to equip SMBs with the necessary knowledge, the skills, and resources to be future ready. To understand how we can help India's small businesses to be future ready, we are joined by Captain O.P. Dua, the advisor who looks at crisis management and turnaround at SME Advisors, Nikhil Arora, the MD and Vice President of GoDaddy India and Australia, Dinesh Gulati, the Chief Operating Officer at India Mart, Ved Narayan Vedanatham, the Head of SME at Razorpay, and of course, Kamal Kant continues with us, the Regional Vice President at Salesforce, who are all with us now. Welcome, everyone, to CNBC TV18 and Salesforce present Small Business is Big Business, Unlocking the SMB Opportunity. All of you gentlemen, thank you very much for being with us. Kamal, let me start by asking you, what are some of the major challenges that the industry has been through since the onset of the pandemic and how they evolved with it since?
See, I think one of the things that at least we've seen is business models change, right? I think after the pandemic has come, your customers have moved, their buying patterns has changed, your customers' requirements has changed, so companies have had to adopt. And now technology was only to one part of the business, right? And small businesses relied a lot on relationships. They relied a lot on collaboration in terms of the community that they really operated in or the cooperative that they operated in. And today it was important for them to expand. I think this was something it would have taken probably let's say it took X amount of time. It really has accelerated in the last 18 months. No, so that is something that I think the change has happened really fast. What would have happened in 5-7 years has happened in 18 months. And for organizations to really look at adopt that change and move forward, so I think that's the biggest thing.
That note, let me also bring in Captain Dua. How are SMBs rethinking and redesigning their businesses, keeping in mind technology to ensure that there is continuity in the face of any kind of adversity?
Today, many of the organizations that have had a personal experience have ensured that they have gone with the industrial revolution 4.0, digitized their machines, brought down their rejections, improved profitability. They're able to achieve what was not possible through physical means by the latest, as it was mentioned, SaaS software. So all these are the new developments which are happening in the industry to cope up with the challenges that my business should not collapse.
Well, Captain Dua, point well taken. There are several questions in the mind of SMBs. Will they or will not they be able to adapt? Mr. Gulati, let me throw this to you then. What are some of the key constraints in adoption of digital tech for these small businesses? Is it the availability of talent or skilled manpower? Does that remain a concern? And how are they addressing these challenges?
Last 2 years, we have seen a huge shift in our customer behavior, consumption pattern, and all those things today, what we are doing, we had never thought 2 years back. And this had posed huge problem, challenge to our SMEs. But the 2 years have seen such a huge adoption, evolvement on both the sides. On one side, we are seeing the businesses have adapted so well to the changing scenario. On other side, we have seen the technology, the companies who are in this space have been coming back with multiple solutions so that there is a perfect product fitment between what the market needs today, keeping in view the current changes, and what they are delivering. Marketplaces offer the complete solution from just plug and play mode. You don't have to have complete skill manpower on your board to manage the entire operation. So I don't see skill manpower, which used to be such a big challenge 2 years back, remains that big a challenge. Secondly, I think it calls for a shift because of gig economy, because of freelancers which are available in hordes now. You don't have to have these talent deployed at your end. You can actually go back to any of these talent or managing companies and pick up best of the talent, whether you need a software engineer, you need a designer, you need a programmer, or for that matter any talent. And these work out to be cost effective. You don't have to deploy them permanent in your organization. So yes, it was a challenge to get a skilled manpower for MSMEs earlier, but this problem has resolved to a great extent.
Would you like to come in on the challenges, whether it is on the HR front or on the cost front? What do you, to your mind, Veda, are some of the biggest challenges for SMBs?
One of the biggest indicators of the key need states that SMEs in India face today is Google search. And we at Razorpay have done extensive keyword research on Google to figure out what are some of the key problem statements facing SMEs in India today. And we've noticed there are three thematic areas that are actually coming out. The first one is digital literacy. How do I use digital in this new post-pandemic world order for growing my dhanda, for growing my business? That is a key question. The second question is on financial literacy. A lot of SMEs, entrepreneurs who are starting up today come from a technology background. Some do, some don't, but regardless, they don't quite understand finance. How do I read a P&L? How do I read a balance sheet? They don't know that. The third is GST, compliance as a larger problem statement.
Nikhil, if you'd come in on that, several issues raised by the panelists so far. Last, of course, Veda saying that perhaps it is intimidation towards adoption of technology, compliance issues, and also financial literacy that are perhaps some of the biggest challenges to the adoption of tech. What has been your understanding? And would you go to the extent of saying that technology adoption is the only way to sustainable growth for these SMBs?
The biggest, simplest factor we have seen which accelerates digitization is onboarding, and what we call assisted onboarding for small businesses. Because what happens is a lot of times customers are able to identify perhaps what they want. But when it comes to hand holding, right, which is really what we call assisted onboarding, once they adopt something and when they see the friction reduced in the first few months of adoption, they get very encouraged. The confidence increases, and then they go along the journey of adding more products or digitization, which helps them, right? So cost has come down, as my panelist has mentioned, I think, but it's really the onboarding part which really differentiates, because in old school you used to call it customer care. Right now it's like you have to handhold them, because how much technology is good enough and how much is too much, right, is very important question. A lot of them unable to answer until you kind of guide them through.
Okay, gentlemen, hold your thoughts. We have to take a short break, but we'll be right back in just a moment.
Salesforce and CNBC TV18 present Small Business is Big Business, unlocking the SMB opportunity. Salesforce and CNBC TV18 present Small Business is Big Business, unlocking the SMB opportunity.
Welcome back. We'll continue our conversation now. Kamal, what are some of the affordable innovations that technology companies can deliver to small businesses? And, what's the role that Salesforce and the likes are playing?
When we started, we were really catering to small and medium businesses, right? Today, we play across the segment, but even now, what we do with SMBs is definitely a significant chunk of what we do. Now, at the bottom of the pyramid, what we really understand is, it has to be plug and play. It has to be which can run on any device anywhere, and you can run it from anybody can do it. You don't really need to, and it has to be intuitive, right? And for us, it is about, if you're downloading an app from an app store or Google Play and starting to use it, that's literacy, that's maturity of technology that's available with most people in India. We are adding smartphone users by loads and millions, right? That's predominantly what we can do. And at Salesforce, we really offer something called as Salesforce Essentials, which is absolutely basic essentials that a small business really needs. And it kind of takes that conversation of looking at the customer 360. And we also have what we do for startups, right? There is a startup program because India is now really becoming the
Startup hub.
corporate startup hub that we are. We have a startup program which gives access to all our technology stack for startup to really work on, and that's something that we do at the bottom of the pyramid.
Okay, I think by now we established that there is a clear need to accelerate digital transformation. Never mind the challenges. Captain Dua, if you would come in on this, what is, according to you, some of the low hanging fruits that can aid in this faster adoption that companies should consider now?
One of the low hanging fruit, as you asked me, is to adopt SaaS based model in your organizations, which are very easily implementable. They are at a very low cost. Today, in the industry, a SaaS model to digitize your shop floors, etc., are available, say just about 15,000 rupees per annum on a subscription model. Now, these solutions are available to look at your operations, to look at your inefficiencies, to bring more traceability kind of concept. You can really transform your business operations, especially the manufacturing sector and other too, by adopting this SaaS model, which is very easy to do. And there are organizations who will do handhold. There are organizations who will not only support you for the technology part of it or provide you the software, but also the soft part of it will be addressed. So my off take would be that organizations must move towards these SaaS-based models and look at the pain areas which they have in the which affects their operations and the efficiency, and bring paradigm shift in their thinking.
Mr. Gulati, if you could come in on that, how can small businesses strengthen their supply chain and distribution through technology intervention? So let's get more specific now, especially for any SMBs that may be watching. How does technology help in this area?
When we talk about supply chain, it is somewhere part of all the primarily between access to market and access to technology and access to finance. So it evolves around these three cornerstones. Now, because of online presence, now first one is that you have access to much larger pool of suppliers from where you can actually access your all resources, all your raw materials. So the objective should be how can I go for better source discovery, which will help me to improve my cost and quality advantages. When it comes to the other side of supply chain, there are a whole lot of tech-driven logistics approaches which are available. And the beauty is you don't have to own these. These are again plug and play modules which are available. And these are online retail solutions which have provided enumerative opportunities in logistics area. Get into that space, adopt technology, and look out for these tech-driven solutions rather than going to the traditional way of looking out for vendors or managing the supply chain. On distribution side, the large marketplaces offer just one click button and access to entire world, not India, but access to entire world. The other big change that I am seeing, especially when we see the traffic coming from on an India Mart, I see almost 60% traffic coming from tier 2, 3, 4 towns. So India and Bharat are getting so well connected seamlessly thanks to technology. And that's where I strongly believe that businesses are able to take advantage of all this technology towards better logistics management, better supply management, and taking distribution to next level.
Nikhil, how are MSMEs, using digital tools to get more insight into customer preferences and have effective engagement? And, could you also bring in your experience on how, businesses are using their websites to do the same?
I think what's happened, we've seen is that, post pandemic and now, that the adoption of website has significantly increased, because I think if you're a service business, especially, right, your website is your brand. That's the only thing which speaks to the world which you control, right? Unlike kind of social media, which is an open platform, your website is your own brand, right? So we've seen both the adoption of website and e-commerce, really going up, because a lot of small businesses, perhaps they don't want to go to some of the large marketplaces because it's good in the beginning when they're building the brand, but then after some time it starts, eroding into their profit margin. And I think with your own website, your analytical ability, as a question you asked, right, becomes very sharp because you can see the kind of traffic you're getting, kind of customer demographics you're getting. If you're a global business, you used to go to .com. If you're an Indian business, you're going .in. So the awareness of different domain names also has gone up because, if I'm kind of vocal for local, I'm going for .in. If I'm a global business, I'm, doing .com and so on.
Veda, would you also comment on how crucial it is for small businesses to think of themselves as digital enterprises first and lead this e-revolution in India?
I think digital is here to stay. A lot of SMEs do recognize this. The pandemic has made this a reality. This is not just a temporary spike, and this is here to stay. And I can give you some data points from from the Razorpay Vantage position that we have. More than the overwhelming majority of the people who sign up with us today are first-time digital entrepreneurs. These are not people who are moving over from one digital payments partner, one neo-banking partner to Razorpay. These are people who are taking baby steps in the digital entrepreneurship space for the first time in their lives, which I think is a fantastic sign for the future of India's digital and the digital payments ecosystem. That's number one. Almost 1/3 of the signups that we get at Razorpay today are people who had previously traditional brick and mortar setups and who are now looking to digitize and go digital, which I think is again a fantastic sign, which again talks about the kind of change in mindset and thinking that the pandemic has actually brought about. I often joke that it's been like sitting inside of a time machine, and the kind of change and the accelerated digital adoption that we might have seen over a 5-year horizon is what we've actually seen in the last couple of years.
All right, we'd love to continue chatting, but unfortunately we've run out of time. Thank you so much for speaking to us and sharing your thoughts. I'm sure the audience had a lot of insightful takeaways to take from this discussion. On that note, thank you very much, Kamal Kant, Ved Narayan, Dinesh Gulati, Captain Dua and Nikhil Arora for joining us and giving us your time. On that note, it's a goodbye from all of us. Thank you.
Salesforce and CNBC TV18 present Small Business is Big Business, unlocking the SMB opportunity. Focus, ideate, innovate, enable.